Ms Giuffre claims she was sexually assaulted by the prince when she was 17. He denies any wrongdoing. Lisa Bloom, a lawyer who represents victims of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, says she doesn't expect the case to be settled out of court.
All of these technical arguments that Prince Andrew has raised. First, he said he wasn't properly served with a lawsuit. Then he says it should be thrown out because of a prior agreement that he was not even a party to between Virginia Giuffre and Jeffrey Epstein, that the court didn't have jurisdiction. I mean, all of these arguments are now rejected. I don't see Virginia accepting anything other than an admission that this happened and an apology to her and payment of a significant amount of compensation. And I just don't see him doing that. So I think he's going to continue to fight the case.
Lisa Bloom. Well, the rollout of smart motorways in England has become suspended over safety concerns. The Department for Transport says it follows several fatal crashes on the hard shoulder. New smart motorways are being put on hold for at least 5 years. The frontwoman of rock and roll girl group The Ronettes, Ronnie Spector, has died at the age of 78. The singer was best known for 1960s hits like that, Be My Baby and Baby I Love You. Her family says she died after a brief battle with cancer. This is GB News. We'll have more as it happens. Now back to headliners.
Thank you, Polly. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Headliners. I'm Dominic Frisby. You know the score. Two comedians and I are looking at the best stories from tomorrow's papers. And it all starts with the headlines, which have just gone to press. And I have them here. No prizes for guessing which two stories they are covering for the most part. And we're going to start with the Daily Mail, which has Operation Save Boris, PM's fulsome apology over work drinks, cabinet rallies round. Liz Truss stands behind him 100%, but ambitious Rishi's lukewarm support hints at trouble ahead, and that pretty much sums it all up. And there's also a picture of the Queen and the Duke of York as he faces sex trial in the US. Will the Duke now do the right thing for the Queen, even if it trashes what's left of his reputation? One can only guess. And we move on to The Guardian. PM's future on a knife edge after number 10 party apology, and also Prince loses bid to halt US sexual assault case. We'll be looking at both of those stories in more detail in just a moment. We head to The Independent next. A man without shame, and there's a, shall we say, unflattering picture of Boris looking shameless. No, looking rather awkward, let's say. And we go on to the FT, which even the FT is covering this story. Johnson faces Tory calls to quit after attending lockdown party, and there's another unflattering picture of Boris there. And then also beneath it, Russia accused of worsening Europe's gas crisis to increase political leverage. And that's an accusation that is probably true, if not justified. Right, we move on to the Eye. Tories call on Boris Johnson to resign. Yet another unflattering picture of Boris. And on we go to the Metro, which has Andrew to face US sex trial, and then Boris, sorry, not sorry. A slightly more amusing take on the story that is well covered. The Express we come to next, the Daily Express, which has been one of the more staunch defenders of Boris over the past few weeks and months. I'm sorry, but now prove you can deliver for Britain. The Express trying to put the ongoing story behind us. We move on to the Times. Defiant PM refuses to quit as polls slip further. And then we have a picture of Andrew driving his car with a shocked expression on his face. Andrew to face grilling by trial lawyers. And we come to the Daily Telegraph, which has a slightly different angle and a more interesting one, perhaps. Sunak leaves Johnson in limbo. Sunak's defence of Boris Johnson was rather more muted than the rest of the cabinet, and he says the Prime Minister was right to apologise, but doesn't offer his full support. He's waiting for the result of that inquiry before he does that. And we also have the PM buys time at cost of public mockery by admitting he's an idiot. That's an opinion piece there. And finally, we have the Star. And we always have high hopes for the Star. Is it going to deliver a humdinger? And, I mean, it's better than the other headlines, let's say that, but it's not up to the usual Star's top-notch quality. Rules are only for you little people. And there's a picture of the PM calling back to that World War I, come and join us in this fight. And then it has amnesiac PM says he now remembers he did go to the Number 10 party, although he insists it wasn't a party and he won't resign for going to the party non-party. In any case, and that is the headlines. So yes, the headlines are out of the way, and so to tonight's guests making his debut on Headliners. It's a man who has done more than anyone to right the wrongs perpetrated by the international tax system. Well, he made a TV programme about it, and excellent it was too. It's Hayden Prowse. Hello, Hayden, and we'll talk. We'll hear your voice in just a moment, but we have to introduce a man who has done more than anyone to exploit the wrongs perpetrated by the international tax system. Well, he buys stuff on Amazon. It's Josh Howie. Hey. Hello, gentlemen. Are you nervous, Hayden, or are you calm and collected and cool?
I feel like I'm calm right now, but I could crash and burn, so perhaps it's misguided.
We'll be gentle with you. And have you been to any social gatherings, work do, stroke parties?
Is this a trick question? Is this a Boris question?
Yeah,
I've been into many socially distanced gatherings all the way through the pandemic. I stopped respecting the rules about a year ago, if I'm honest.
OK.
Yeah.
Along with everyone else. The rules have got sort of greyer and greyer. My dear chap, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very good, very good. Any news to report? Any family
My
developments?
wife is not pregnant, so that's good.
Well done.
Thank you. That's about the best news I've got at the moment.
It's not often you say that on this programme, but it's good to hear it finally at last. So we go to today's big story, and it's Partygate. I thought it was a work event, said Boris, repeatedly apologising through gritted teeth. His advisers have obviously decided this is the line to take for him to save his job, but come on. In May 2020, a social work gathering outside for 100 people, if not against the letter of lockdown laws, it was certainly against the spirit, and Boris was there. I remember that week like it was yesterday because we held my own father's funeral just a few days later, outdoors in a natural burial ground in the woods, and we could only have 12 there when we would have had over 100 if we could. Keir Starmer has called for Boris to resign, but he was always going to make that call. But the leader of the Scottish Conservatives, Douglas Ross, has also called for him to resign, and that is more significant. The big guns in the cabinet have backed him. For now, Sunak more muted. Sue Gray is carrying out her inquiry. She probably has a once-in-a-lifetime chance to bring down a Prime Minister, but will she dare? Current odds say 61% he goes, but to go, he either has to resign, is he the type who would do that, or 54 Tory MPs need to send letters of no confidence to the 1922 committee chairman, Sir Graham Brady. That's a bigger ask than it sounds, for all sorts of career reasons. This one is going to run and run. Josh, I know you were angry about it when we last spoke. Are you still angry? Are you furious?
I am so angry for the purposes of television. You know what? I'm actually a little bit conflicted here because what I don't think people are really appreciating about Johnson is that he's stuck in this flat and it's got really horrible wallpaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to want to get out of the flat and party with 100 people. I just think...
I was going to say it's his house. He didn't leave his house. But I was only going to say that for the sake of balance because I thought you were going to come down heavy.
Oh, yeah. No,
because I am outraged.
We're all about the balance.
So he didn't leave his house. He was, you know...
But the other thing is that I feel like he only went for 25 minutes, which I think is incredibly rude to the people who turned up, who probably had got a couple of buses there. and brought their own alcohol, and then he's only there for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
That's like token politeness, isn't it?
God, I would love to go to my own party for 25 minutes. That's such a power move.
What I find weird about it, though, is it was May 2020, right? When nobody...
20th.
Yeah, everyone thought they were in a sort of pandemic movie. Nobody knew what it was. You thought I would sort of give runners in the park a sort of 10-metre distance. Didn't want them to breathe on me.
I remember somebody
I washed
shouted at me
my legumes.
because my dog went close to him.
Yeah.
So he obviously thought the dog had the virus.
Yeah, my mum would send me articles about dogs. Don't touch dogs, darling. They
People
can
were
give
like
it to you.
cleaning their vegetables
Yeah.
and whatever. I mean, we don't have a garden, and we had to go to the park. Got 5 little kids in this flat. It was boiling hot as well. I remember going to the park and like being pushed on by the police, like, oh, you've been sitting here, like, because had to exercise. It was so out of order.
Oh yeah, they closed off the garden benches.
Yeah, you couldn't sit down on the garden benches. It was nuts. But I wonder if everybody was that afraid. So when did he catch it? When was that? When did he get it?
Well, you're assuming that it's real.
Not long. Yeah.
Yeah, he must.
I do think it's real.
You've been watching too many YouTube videos.
I've been watching Nick Dixon
I
too much
think
on
it was
this show.
sooner than that.
He got it
But
before the
he
party.
would only have just been recovering. I think so.
I'd already had it, really.
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Took one for the herd.
Yeah.
Is that your expression?
Yeah.
It's good. I like it.
That. Yeah,
Take
I like
one,
it.
take one for the herd, yeah.
That's good. Very good.
Any more to add?
Well, I just
Outrage?
only, but it's been mentioned in in various papers you said, but Rishi Sunak is like, the idea that he's actually come out in any way of support, like said, oh, finally his voice is support. No,
He didn't
said,
even show up.
He just said, the PM was right to apologise. That's not support, and I support his request for patience. Well, so that is not support. That's like, I support him, his right to be destroyed later on. That is really what he's saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already talking about who the success is. It going to be Gove, Sunak, Javid, or Truss?
Truss.
Isn't it? Or maybe Priti Patel.
I think Sunak's got to be Sunak, isn't it?
Part of me wants him to stay in only because I want Labour to get in as the next government, and I feel like he's going to be such dead weight now that he's just going to take the Tories lower and lower. That's how I feel. Maybe that's how Labour feels. Like, that's probably what the Tories felt when Corbyn was in charge. The same thing. Like, please, Corbyn, stay in charge because he's just going to ruin the whole party. But fair dues to Keir. He's brought the party back much quicker than people thought he could. So we'll see.
Pro-Labour propaganda.
I wouldn't be surprised if he survived, though, to be honest.
GBNews.
Wouldn't be surprised if he survives this, Boris.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who survived it would be him.
I know a week is a long time in politics, but in my New Year's predictions piece that I wrote for Money Week, one of my predictions was that he would still be Prime Minister this time. I think the odds are 61%. I said he'd still be Prime Minister this time next year. But, in 2 days, the shands have shifted.
I think if he could just go on Have I Got News For You one more time, that would be enough to...
Well, send him over the edge and keep him in.
I think it all depends on those backbenchers, the same people that brought down May. And I guess they think if they risk losing their seats in the next election...
The Tories are ruthless, and that's the best thing they got going for them.
Right, and so to our next story, and this is in the Mail, and the alleged royal pedo, and I stress alleged. Prince Andrew will face a court battle with his accuser, Virginia Roberts-Giuffre. The Duke of York has failed in his attempts to stop the case going forward. I guess he knew this was coming. He's put his Swiss chalet up for sale after all. And the case dates back to 2001 when he was 41 and she was 17. So not technically a pedo, but anyway, let's not talk about that. It's all allegedly. His reputation's already in tatters after the car crash BBC interview and because of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, who didn't kill himself, allegedly, but it just seems to get worse. And I guess his best hope is to settle this quietly out of court. I don't know if that's even possible. It's going to cost them a lot of money. Hayden, I know you attempted a lot of Epstein parties back in the day. What's the best?
Epstein, don't do a Corbynite. Epstein.
Epstein.
Don't do a Corbyn on this.
It's EI. It should be Epstein.
No, it's
anyway, I know you. What's when your reputation?
Smirks the good name of Jeffrey Epstein.
We're going to pronounce it right, but you know, when you go to an Epstein party and your reputation, I'm going to stick to this one. What's the best line to take here?
What's the best line to take to an Epstein party?
Well, I mean, what does he do?
What does Prince Andrew do? I don't know. I had this. I've just been reading this piece.
From your
right?
experience,
So,
what should a alleged paedophile do?
Listen, so there's this non-disclosure agreement or this non-prosecution agreement or whatever it is, right, that she's signed with Epstein Giuffre. How do you say it? Giuffre. Is that how you say her name?
Giuffre, presumably.
Giuffre. So she's got Epstein to sign this.
Giuffre.
She's got Epstein to sign this. Epstein and Miss Giuffre. And so Miss Giuffre's lawyers said that only the parties of the settlement of the agreement are party to it. So all Prince Andrew's got to do is admit that he was party to that agreement and that he was with her, and then she can't sue him.
That's it. There we go. We've solved it.
So he's just got to take some flack for being a pedo now, and then he won't have to go to court because he will be party to that agreement.
So that's what, when the Mail was talking about him doing the right thing, that's what they mean.
He should just fall on his sword now, and he won't go to court. I don't know. This might be. I'm not a lawyer and I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it seems to me that all he has
Welcome to the show.
That's why we hired you. The last thing we want is informed guests. Would you fall on your sword? What would you do in this predicament? Had you slept with a 17-year-old?
I haven't sort of worked out all my moves if this was to happen. Well, I'm just angry. Obviously, look, his arrogance. But he has ruined the grand old Duke of York song for me. I can't sing that anymore with my kids.
I saw
the grand old Duke of York.
10,000 men or 10,000 little
10,000
soldiers.
He took them to Bahamas.
Yeah.
There was a slightly desperate article in the Express actually about one of the Queen's cousins that's getting married. I think as a way to, presumably to another cousin, presumably as a way to distract from this story. So we can go back to thinking of the royal family as synonymous with incest rather than paedophilia.
Yeah, but we'll see how that works. Poor old Queen. I mean, she's
I have
so
no time
well.
for this anti-royalist
Oh, really?
propaganda on my show. It's a bad day for the British establishment, isn't it? All things considered.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great day for the little
subversives.
people.
Right, but
Could you just explain one thing to me? This is from the Judge Kaplan, who presided over this. He said at one point he told Andrew's lawyer, "That's not a dog that's going to hunt here." Are you familiar with this expression?
No, what does this mean?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
No.
I guess that means that particular legal angle isn't going to work.
You don't think that he was sort of like trying to bring in sort of English sayings?
He might have
Yeah,
been. Anyway, he obviously is not familiar with Tony Blair's reforms to that particular
I know, sort it out.
area of our life. Right, we're coming to the end of part one. We're going to go to the weather and then it's the ads. If you want to know who funds us, you're about to find out. We'll see you in a moment for part two, when we'll be finding out how the BBC will be giving airtime to flat earthers. What? Don't go anywhere.
Hello, getting cold out there now. The sun has gone down. We'll keep largely clear skies across the south, but it will turn foggy in places, but also a frost likely across the south first thing in the morning, thanks to high pressure. Further north, notice quite a few isobars on the chart. It's been a windy day across northern Scotland. It stays windy here overnight, and that breeze will help to prevent a frost and will continue to bring quite a lot of cloud across certainly western Scotland, Northern Ireland and northwest England. Elsewhere though, clear skies, and especially in the south with the light winds turning cold here. Frost likely even in towns and cities. We'll get down a touch below freezing, and a few dense fog patches, which this time of year are hard to shift, so certainly be around for the rush hour and could stick around even into the afternoon in a few locations. We'll keep thicker clouds across the northwest of Scotland, patchy rain over the Highlands, and the Western Isles stays pretty blustery in the far north as well. But elsewhere, the winds are light, and for many, a bright day with sunny spells and temperatures picking up to 7-8 degrees Celsius, maybe 10 in the southwest. Again, the highest temperatures likely over northern Scotland, 10, 11, maybe 12 in Aberdeenshire. Stays quite breezy here through the course of Thursday evening. We'll see a bit more rain heading into the Northern Isles. Again, most places dry. And again, where we've got the clear skies, we'll see that double threat of frost and fog. If anything, probably more fog as we head into Friday morning. And again, it could stick around, certainly through into the late morning, perhaps even all day in a few locations. But if you don't get the fog, you should generally have another sunny day, the main exception being that patchy rain across the far north of Scotland. Generally, temperatures a little lower on Friday, and especially if the fog sticks, we may struggle to get much above 2 or 3 Celsius. But generally, the outlook is pretty dry. Some sunshine, some dense fog patches, and particularly in the south, frosty conditions in the mornings. Bye for now.
Hello there, I'm Eamon.
And I'm Isabel.
And you're watching the GB News digital stream across the United Kingdom.
And around the world.
If you're here in the UK, you can also watch us on your TV screen. GB News is Freeview channel 236.
On Sky, we're channel 515.
626 on Virgin Media.
Just remember, you might need to retune your TV to watch the channel.
Yeah, and if you are doing that, find out more about retuning by going to gbnews.uk.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch. And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints. We're over a drink. We have a civilized conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Farage.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon.
And Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Dominic Frisby, and with me tonight, looking at tomorrow's papers, we have one of social media's top influencers, #Hayden Prowse. And we have a man who has just started his an OnlyFans account, and I was watching it just last night. It's Josh Howie, top content, Josh. I never realised you had some of that in the locker. I must say I'm very impressed. And so we go to our first story in this part, and the theme of this story, I fear, will run and run over the next few years. Inflation and the cost of living. If you print a lot of money, you get inflation. Who knew? Josh.
I mean, well, it's not just the printing of money. It is gas prices and everything is basically driving everything up. And this is going to have a real effect on some of the hardest hit in society. People on benefits, their benefits are only